It is a good day in trading land. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, happy New Year almost. It is crazy to think that it is almost 2026. Time truly does fly. Frank G's, what's up? What's up, GK? Who traded yesterday? Did anyone trade yesterday? Did anyone trade London or Asia today? Fill me in, guys. How'd you guys do last week? How is December going? How did the year go? I like to hear everyone's journeys, everyone's success, everyone's struggles. We can work through it. So, admittedly, I wasn't going to get on today just because it's a shortened week. I have pretty low expectations for today. But then I was sitting around, had some time, and thought, might as well just hop on here, look at some price, see what the market wants to give us, but more importantly, just talk about 2025, how we can prep for the new year, some things to focus on from, of course, a psychological standpoint and performance-based standpoint, but also technical as well. While we're seeing what price does. So, I mean, looking at this right now, we're 2 minutes till open, but we just came down, ran yesterday's AM low, yesterday's low in its totality into the new week opening gap. Let me update the indicator. So this looks pretty textbook for accumulation here, if it lets me draw that. Accumulation, manipulation. Now we'll see if they want to turn it. Again, I'm just going through markets right now. So I want to let the opening range play out and see where we are at the 950 macro. 4XD, what's up? These last 2 months have been a turning point for me with macros. Love to hear that. What is the main thing that helped you out, or the key couple of things? Share with other people. Share with me. I love to hear. I'm doing a full in-depth video. It's my next YouTube video. I've been chefing up behind the scenes on macros. Super excited to share that. I should finish recording it today. In a perfect world, I upload it later today. In a non-perfect world, I'll upload it probably Friday or Saturday after the holidays. Okay. And as always, for you premium guys, if I'm talking about S&P, it's on my other monitor, so don't think you're not seeing something. I have one monitor that you see here where my cursor is for NASDAQ, and then one other for ES. And I like to just personally, I know some people only have like one time frame and then do the layout setup here and just have multiple, but I just prefer to be able to click through it, personal preference. On the daily chart as well, we have this daily BISI. That we're tapping into. Here, running previous day low, also into that new week opening gap. So a lot of things going here. This could be a logical turning point to the upside. Look at this bounce right at 930. Out of that new week opening gap. It looks like we're just going to rip up to London and Asia high. See where this current 15-minute candle close. TradingView just loves giving me problems as well, guys. Randomly taking off my magnets. 4XD, how the timing just aligns, just got to be patient and definitely use higher time frame with it. Yeah, so that's where a lot of people get wrong, and I'm going to talk about that in that YouTube video that I just mentioned, coming out today or this weekend. People will learn or just understand what macros are, and then they'll come across macro power of 3 and how to utilize a macro, or see like just me post a chart example of a lower time frame fractal price. That's just the 1 minute. It looks really nice. And then they rush into incorrectly the the premise that you just need to look for those lower time frame patterns. But of course, it needs to fit into the higher time frame direction where the draw on liquidity is ultimately. And just from an expectational standpoint, don't come into every macro with the expectation that you're going to put on a trade. That's what a lot of people will kind of get trigger happy with. Like, they'll start to see some macros play out beautifully, and then it's like, okay, every macro, it's going to give a setup. Sometimes it will give it often, like 2-3 times a day. Other times it won't. You have to be patient and disciplined and objective about that. Okay, and that comes with experience with anything else in trading, but especially when you have like those small lower time frame windows, you really have to make sure that you're not convincing yourself you're seeing a setup, right? You have to remain objective about it. So ripped up here to London, fell just short of Asia there. This is inducement here, this high. We'll probably just go get it, but this is what we talk about often. This is actually a couple good examples here. So for today, I mentioned like my plan is to just kind of see how the market works. I probably won't trade, but then I'll get a good setup and take it. If there's a good setup, I'll take it. But I'm not looking to rush into any trades as I'm normally not, but especially just Tuesday before Christmas Eve and the shortened week. It's always good to just, on these shortened weeks when you have holidays, dial it back. But my plan here for today is, again, just to talk about some stuff to prep you guys for the new year, as well as prep myself, just kind of where I am for the new year, as well as just drop as much value as I can just from a technical standpoint as well. I already see a bunch of stuff that I want to talk about here, and it's not going to be complicated. It's not some new holy grail stuff. It's never the goal. It's to keep it simple and to really reinforce the main things that I should say, need to utilize in my trading for clarity, for heightened probabilities in my favor. And then when those probabilities aren't in my favor, I need to just dial back and sit in my hands, okay? Which is the hardest part for the majority of traders. But already, like, as we see this open, 3-4 minutes after, these are a bunch of clean lows. This high is just short of Asia high. And this is kind of just good practice. You guys in premium will typically sit through the opening range and wait for the macro before placing any trades, unless it's super, super clear. And I think all the manipulation is done. Super, super textbook, what goes into an A+ setup. And we'll typically include the 930 first presentation fair value gap. But other than that, like, throughout an opening range, I'm really just trying to see signatures from price that suggest to me favorability. So what would that be? Come 950, and I can't recall actually. Do we have I got to check here on my end. Red folder news today. Let me check. We have some orange folder consumer confidence at 10 a.m. So we'll be aware of that. But that's not a rule for me that I can't trade before. If it was red folder, the majority of the time I'll wait till after that red folder event as well. Unless there's a 930 in an opening range play right out of the gate. That's textbook. But back to what I was saying. Relative to trying to gauge whether the session, the initial 30 minutes and ultimately the 950 to 1010 macro seems favorable for me to operate within, or if I need to wait, try to decipher that. A main thing is, do I have a clear draw? And what I don't want to do, and let's see if this occurs. I think we'll just rip up and get this high, but I don't want to see clean liquidity on both sides and then at the start of the macro just be in the range at the start and during the macro as well. Because before any of the other signatures, macro power of 3, macro CISD, inversions, SMTs, whatever the new trendy thing is online, your priority needs to be liquidity. Okay, that is what transformed my trading. That's what I think the majority of traders get to, that understanding in their trading. And then the entry model and how you operate and ultimately engage with price pressing buy or sell is much more simple to you, and you can make that personal to you. So, I have some of you guys in here. a lot of you guys use macro power of 3 in its totality as your main only go-to entry model. Now, some of you guys might take bits and pieces from macros and say, okay, well, I want to use the similar logic and just understand the significance of a macro window and what its function is, and then trade the unicorn or the breaker, or I like trading order blocks. That's clear to me, right? And that's perfectly fine. But as long as you have a clear understanding of directional bias, which is draw on liquidity, where is price most likely to go, and on the other side of it, when should I sit on my hands because there's no clear draw on liquidity, you're in a really good spot, and the other things come super, super easy for you. You know, rather relative to flipping it around and prioritizing your lower time frame model and pattern trading on the lower time frames, and then just hoping you get the direction right when a lower time frame pattern is present, right? You're much more likely to find losing trades with that framework. Okay, so here I mentioned, like, we have clean lows down here, and we did in this case, like, we swept yesterday's low and London low, so we did take out more sell side here. But even when those lows are so clean, not only I'm looking on ES on my other monitor here as well. I guess we have S&P right here. Okay. ES has super clean lows as well, so there's really not even like a prominent S&P down there. What are you doing, Tim? What are you doing? Okay. But ES also has super clean lows down here, right? So, like, going back to what I was saying, favorability. If price was to, at the start of the macro and, you know, as we progress throughout the macro, just kind of consolidate range and seek internal liquidity, obviously that's not favorable. But when you see the high of the day fall just short of another session high, then you also look at the other side of the range and you see liquidity here and 2 session lows below. We'll see how that looks in the higher time frame. Yeah, so clean down here with that new week opening gap. But I'm less likely to even want to operate when we're in there because I want clarity. And me as a trader, what has helped me has just been able to objectively recognize there's liquidity on both sides. Let go of the ego, let go of the need to control the market and need to push the button, and just wait until the market gives more structure, shows you which side it's going to want to purge first, and then go from there. That's a much more logical, responsible way to go about it than trying to trade, pick a random 1 minute PD array when we're inside a range with liquidity on both sides. So, like, when I'm sitting through an opening range, trying to understand if it's favorable or not, the market, I'm looking for first and foremost liquidity. Like, do we have it on both sides? If this was, and we could still obviously just continue to displace away, but this is where my brain goes. Like, there'll be days where this is a more prominent SMT or something. NASDAQ looks like this and is making a lower low. So imagine this candle right here is all the way down here. And then ES is making that higher low. So a cleaner cracking correlation, cherry on top, and a new week opening gap or higher time frame fair value gap. Then I would trust this more to not be delivered to. Then I would have more confidence in what? Taking that next step forward. If I see a retracement, I'll use the macro power of 3 continuation model. But I have less confidence in that if we have clean liquidity on both sides. Okay. So I'm looking for clues during the open, the first 30 minutes. And, you know, if there's no clarity or nothing, no good setup that I deem high quality throughout the 950 to 1010 macro, then I'll just wait. You know, it's just about who can wait the longest, who can be the most disciplined. So let's look. I'm not sure if there were any. While the market does this here, we have 10 minutes till the macro. Again, orange folder news at 10 a.m. Another thing I mentioned today, I'm just going to be trying to drop as much value as I can for you guys, especially if the market starts to just do nothing. Someone tell me why. Let's go back for a second. And for someone who's a little more advanced, this might seem obvious, but not everyone's super advanced and as smart as everyone else is, right? And I say that as a joke, obviously. Okay. But like early on in my trading journey and with ICT specifically, from a psychological performance aspect, you're rushing into any trade that you can take whatsoever, right? So from a pattern standpoint, you're looking at this and saying, okay, we went lower, we ran this low, we're running this high, market structure shift, right? Very basic stuff, fair value gap, displacement. Oh, and we inverse this. Well, it's time to go up here. We have all this buy side up here. Shouldn't I do this? Shouldn't I do that? Okay, you go along. And then eventually you get chopped up and then you get stopped out. So super simple fix for those types of setups. Going back to what I was saying so far, your priority is what? Right, Sharky, thank you. Right on cue. Liquidity. So I'm not going to rush into any long if I see a low, especially when you see this. We're kind of grinding down here, but if you see sell side delivery and then we also fall short of another London low, this low is inducement, meaning any push higher is far more likely to be just enticing longs to trap them before going lower, instead of this being an actual reversal, a protected low, and we go attack the other side. Now, you RTO guys, we mention this all the time. Is there going to be times where price will leave this and it will take off? Yes. You have to be okay with missing that, because that's going to happen the minority of the time. The majority of the time, it's just going to do this. If it doesn't just run it, it's just going to do that and then go purge that. And ultimately, what do you see here? If you can be patient, the better setup, the better idea for you wouldn't be to rush into a long just to try to call a reversal. Funny enough, this here, you see inducement. So this is your continuation cause. You see a pullback. You're in the 750 macro. Price goes above the macro. Runs a high here. Okay, there's a sneaky little inversion here. But the main premise is that inducement. That's what I want to break down here. And then also, what's my favorite saying with macros that I've been tweeting out recently? I tweeted it last night. You should hammer it in your head. I say it in the live streams all the time. I'm depicting it here with the red box and the light blue box after. Someone take a guess. I tweeted it yesterday. Power of 3, yes. Of course, power of 3, but I mean, it's the same thing, but you want to see the macro for macro power 3, manipulate, then spool. 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 That's what macro power 3 is. Now, of course, there's times when you can understand a spooling macro and anticipate that. I'm not going to talk about that at the moment. That's a little more difficult to do and a little more advanced and a little less likely to time. It's a little more difficult to find winning trades. Not impossible, obviously, but even for me, my bread and butter is this manipulation then spool during this macro window. Okay, so don't rush into a long when you see that. Let's check in on the market right now. Okay, we're about to go get that high. So like, boom, again, like this is, not that anyone would take this, but if you're just starting out, like, it's just what I'm saying, just flip it around to a short scenario. Like, you're looking down here, you're saying, okay, well, we have a bunch of sell side there. Okay, your 930 fair value gap, time to go short. There's no real market structure shift to frame that pattern, trade around for this example, but priority is liquidity. Like, don't rush into shorting when this high is just short of a session high here, Asia high. So that's why session highs and lows are important. Out of that daily busy. What's up, SMT trader? Long time no talk. How's everything been going? What's up, Jay Smood? What's up, Aman? What's up, Nipsey? Nipsey, every day I remind myself I ate crayons as a kid, possibly. I don't know what that comment is in relation to, but hopefully you don't eat crayons anymore, bro. Why does TradingView turn all my magnets off just randomly? What's up, Ape Coach? What's up, Osmar? Yeah, the majority of my trades, probably 95% plus, are during macro windows with the typical macro power of 3 entry checklist. The other 5% or so are, I will take outside. It's not a specific rule that I can't, but it's only if it's the draw on liquidity is super clear, which I want in all my trades. But typically I'll require a SMT outside that macro window. So pretty simple rule there too. Like ideally and preferably I want to see macro power 3 setups. If I don't see it and I still have that clear draw and I see an SMT, I'll take a stab at that. If I take a stab at that between macros and it's a loss, kind of have that one trade rule between macros, and then you'll have to wait for the macro. And or if we just don't get a setup between macros, I'll just wait and allow more structure to develop, see where the market's at as you enter that next macro. And how do I manage my time? You stay as long as it appears, or do you have alarms to manage your time and don't be glued to the computer? Yeah. I mean, ideally, I'm usually on stream from like 9 to after the 10:50 macro, sometimes longer. And just ideally, hopefully, I want to come into the market and get a setup in one of those 2 macros, just so I don't have to sit on the charts all day. But if we don't, then I'll just, if I have something planned for the rest of the day, then I'll just go about my day because I'm detached from the market. I don't need to take a trade every single day. But if there's like still a clear idea that I have that like I'm waiting for clear liquidity to be swept and the initial hour or 2 of the market is just kind of consolidating and I'm waiting for that sweep and reversal, let's say, something like that, then I'll hang out and just, come back at a macro window if I'm still at my place. But yeah, you can set alerts, timers, I guess, before a macro. But once you know what you're looking for, like prepping for the open, you want more time. But once you have the main framework for how the day is likely to play out, what you're looking for, if you're just waiting in between macro windows, you really only have to like show up 5 to 10 minutes before a macro and just kind of check in on your plan and see if it's still a potential, offering, or if it is invalid now or what have you, which is the benefit of macros as well. Check out S&P on my other monitor. Guys, Alpha's doing 40% off all evals as well, as you can see on the top of the screen there, till December 26th. It's like their best deal of the year, and honestly kind of fun. They're doing like a Cartier watch giveaway too. They did an iPhone 1 last week, I think it was, so pretty cool on that end. But Alpha's super reliable. I know people have had issues with Top Step recently. Top Step will fix their issues, but having your own platform and taking away everyone else's, all other platforms, and forcing them to use that, and then that isn't reliable, is obviously not ideal. But Alpha's reliable, same day payouts. I believe it's the largest withdrawal cap in the industry, if not the largest, one of the largest, 15,000 per account. It's ES over here. S&P got already previous day high. So we have that SMT. The only thing is here now, guys, like look at what the market's doing. If we zoom out on the 5-minute, taking sell side, taking buy side. I don't think that's a crazy outcome. which would not be ideal, obviously. Given the short week and just from a technical standpoint, how the market looks. Also, just to add to your toolkit, like when you have both session highs and session lows, specifically London and Asia, swept prior or right upon 9:30 open, it can be an additional factor and just way to gauge the likelihood of a seek and destroy day. Now, that isn't 100% guarantee. There's plenty of days where you'll sweep both sides and then we'll just continue to get trending here, right? But it's just one of those things to weigh out probabilities. Like if you see both sides swept and the market comes down and starts to consolidate in this range, you put 2 and 2 together and say, okay, we purged both sides of liquidity. We came back into the range. It's just short and weak, right? You use those tools to try and weigh probabilities, stack confluence, etc. Yes, I use Alpha, SMT, Top Step, Funded Ticks seems not too reliable. Yeah, I saw people complaining about Funded Ticks. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't see exactly what their rule switch. Wasn't there some rule switch or something? Just screwing people over probably. I haven't used Funded Ticks. Hey Tim, are you going to or have tried Lucid? I just partnered with them. I haven't announced it yet, but there's the announcement. Yeah, they have great options and they pay out super, super quick. They changed their rules without announcing. They just try to sneak it in there. Do you know what it was? No more payouts was the announcement. Just buy evals and demo trade. Yeah, Morph. I got to see if let me see if it's activated. Yeah, it is active. So yeah, it's just RTT. RTT is mine for all firms. There you go, bro. What's my opinion on 24/7 trading in 2026? My opinion is that prop firm revenue is going to 100x. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think it'll change much, honestly. Like I'm not going to switch up my strategy or panic or whatever. You just continue to do the same thing. Focus on liquidity. Focus on time. Focus on not over trading. Focus on not over leveraging, not revenge trading, trading emotionally, FOMOing everything. People online like to talk like doomsday, anything related to trading. It's best to just do the best you can to focus on yourself and make sure your mentality's in check, that you're focused on the trading day at hand. Right? That's ultimately what it comes down to. Like if you're trading live, prop firm, or both, you just have to focus on the correct decision you have to make in the markets. You know, changes are going to happen with the market with that 24/7 switch. Changes are going to happen with prop firm rules. You just have to be aware of it and, you know, operate accordingly. There's no point in complaining about stuff or getting scared or anything. It's just one day at a time as usual. Scoreboard resets every single day. Back below is 930 gap. We do have that SMT at the highs. I'm not looking to trade right now. Look at ES here. really just in tape reading mode. If I see anything that I like that seems high probability while we're on, I'll mention it here. I'm gonna use this 930 gap, and this is typical for, I call it like my measuring stick for bias. Like as long as we're below it, ideally, if we're gonna bleed lower, we should stay below it and just bleed down. But we have this large BISI, and again, we're just coming back into the range on a potential seek and destroy day. But when you have a first presentation gap, it's not the most prominent here, okay, but I'll still use it, right, to say like, okay, as long as we're below this, more likely than not, we're going to go lower. There's EQ here. What are you guys' thoughts on right now? Do you guys think we're going to slice down to 60825, these lows? You guys think we're going to chop? You guys think NASDAQ's going to play catch up? What do you guys think? It's always good to bounce ideas to hear your guys' thoughts. Think we're going to rip to the moon? Bet I'm all in longs right now. Thank you, Remorph. Just lost my house. "15-second setup, you menace." We get a new 4-hour candle in 2 minutes. Yeah, we have that. What was it? Consumer confidence at 10. What's up, Matt? Matt, any Asia trades last night, bro? Or were you too busy watching Jason Tatum highlights? Took an L. Happens, bro. As long as you're following your plan. Just admit you're a Celtics fan, bro. Just come to the dark side. Man, even S&P. Why does TradingView just love switching up all my tabs? So yes, again, you see that all that sell side, all that buy side, that broadening formation is a sign to be wary of seek and destroy. Crazy. The year's already over, guys. All right. Share with me in the comments. How did this year go for you guys? Are you guys satisfied with your performance this year? Are you guys dissatisfied? Did you blow your expectations out of the water? Did you fall short of them? Are you feeling like you're still in the same place? Are you excited for the new year? Where are you guys at? And then I'm going to break down some things as well. One of your best years? Nice. SMT trader. Major growth, Matt. Love to hear that. Still a lot of work to be done always, bro. Scoreboard resets every single year. Best year, Remorph. Love that. Remorph, we got to run back interview number 2, bro. I keep saying it. Give the people what they want. Satisfied with the month of December. Up until this point, I was all over. Finally bucking down. E-Rob. December was a correct, profitable month in following rules. Right. Those last 3 words are the most important thing and the key to your profitability. Growth, excited to keep learning with the A to Z mentorship. Love to hear that, bro. I'm going to add a few channels to that as well soon. Been grinding behind the scenes for content for that and the YouTube. Whenever I go quiet and you guys don't see me posting, just know that's probably what's occurring. Most consistent year. Proud of that. Looking forward to the new year. Nice. Nice, Keisha. All right. For those of you saying you did well this year, what did you change? Like, what are your suggestions? What's your advice to other traders who are still struggling, still stagnant, break even, or unprofitable? Ape Coach, this year was the first year I actually reached payout. Still a lot of work to be done. Nice man. Trader, son, grew a lot this year, and looking back, I would have been profitable, but some major tilt days set me back so much. Bingo, bro. Keisha, patience, less trading, being okay with not taking trades will be setups when it's not there. E-Rob, if you're not sure about a trade, just wait because there will be one that you'll be sure about. Exactly. I love to hear these. Best year for me so far as got consistent and profitable. What's up, Dev? Last few months, especially after September, have hardly taken any trade out of the model. Yes, bro. I love that. That I've backtested, of course. The foundation is Macro Power 3. So, yeah, good year for getting funded with personal account. All thanks to you, bro. It's never whether it's me or freaking ICT or any of the other gurus online, they can tell you something, but you have to be the one to put in the work and apply it. You know, I can sit here and show you every single high quality trade in markup charts, no demand, but I can't sit next to you and get you out of that moment when you want to chase, when you want to over leverage, when you want to revenge trade. I can tell you, but I can't force you to act a certain way and respond correctly after a losing trade. I can't get in your brain specifically and tell you to and force you to remain confident through a losing streak. That is inevitable. Those are things that all of us individually have to face and overcome and conquer as traders. Right? And those are the real pillars of success. Everything else comes easy, and trading is so much more simple when you do not self-sabotage. Right? And it's not this, you don't just wake up, you don't pray to God, oh, make me disciplined, make me stop self-sabotaging and trading emotionally, and you don't just wake up with it, right? It's forged through those small battles, one moment at a time. So instead of looking at a losing trade as, shoot, I got to fix this right away. I'm going to revenge trade. I'm in a trade I know I shouldn't be in. I'm revenge trading right now. Look at that as your opportunity to literally get better as a trader. You're not focused on the outcome. You're focused on performing well and the right way as the trader. Right? Traders do not focus on the outcome and disregard the process. You put all your focus on the process, and then the outcome is a byproduct of that. More favorable outcomes are more likely than not to go into your account, to fall into your favor. Right? But again, it's not forged. You don't just wake up with it. Like, I can't tell you the amount of accounts I've blown, the amount of mistakes I've made, the amount of times, and I'm sure who else has been here, when you have a great week or a great month and you feel like you're going to be a billionaire in 2 weeks, that you're a trading god now, you have it all figured out. And then you have one red trade, one normal losing trade or losing day, and all of a sudden your confidence is so gone for no reason at all, just because you're so focused on the outcome and needing to keep that winning streak alive, or, oh, I thought I had it figured out. Winning, profitable traders don't take losses. No, they do, but they respond well. Right? They don't freak out when they have that business expense, when they have that normal loss. Right? I've said this before to you guys. If you could go back on this year and remove every day where you tilted and blew accounts. I'm not talking about losing trades, because I had plenty of losing trades this year that were following the model. I'm sure everybody had plenty of losing trades this year that they had a clear plan for and had some sort of model, whether it was macro power 3, silver bullet, breaker, whatever your model is. Those are fine. But imagine you guys could go back on this year and remove all of the trades, all of the days where you tilted. Imagine where your trading would be, literally. Right, you'd have a dozen or so more accounts right now. You'd have more payouts. And the most important thing is that what? Your confidence would be so much more heightened. You wouldn't doubt yourself so much. Right? You trust yourself more coming into a session knowing you're not going to tilt. When you keep tilting and you keep losing those small battles, when you want to chase, you want to revenge trade, you want to over leverage, you're adding to your self-doubt and operating in fear instead of adding to your confidence and operating in faith and discipline. Right? But completely objectively, you just need to understand that those are your opportunities to perform better and grow. Right? And it's one by one. And it's easy right now, and maybe some of you guys listening are getting like, you get motivated when you hear some trading type of motivational speech, or even just not even motivation, just talking about trading psychology. You're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I'm done. And you're going to follow that plan. And then the first time you're faced with a little bit of adversity of, oh, I took a loss, I just want to get back in. You lose that small battle and you stay stuck in the cycle. And that's where the majority of traders stay. And that's where I was stuck for so long and wasted so much of my damn time because I just kept getting in my own way. You know, the majority of us can find the correct draw more often than not, find an entry more often than not, just being able to visually identify a good entry. But it's the in-between that we always talk about. Can you just literally remain objective and patient and disciplined and sit on your hands during the in-between when there's nothing for you to do? There's no buttons for you to push. There's no setup. There's no model. Right? You don't need some new holy grail. Yes, you need to have your technical understanding and your model that you engage with primarily. But once you have that, it's all self-management. It is all self-management. Remorse, bro, if I eliminate my tilt days, I'd be up in the big leagues. Exactly. They're so important. And like as soon as you start to feel that urge to tilt in all those moments we face, literally, even if there's a potential setup you're looking at, it is better for you to just close your laptop and walk away and just remove the possibility of you doing damage to yourself, unnecessary damage to yourself. Dev, I feel spending just 6 months with you, Tim, in live streams and really learning with all the dedication, learning how you do not take trade every day and waiting patiently. Anyone can fast track their growth. Patience is the biggest learning. Yeah, exactly, man. Because trading in general, but especially with ICT concepts, what would happen for me, I think what happens with a lot of traders is that you study so much and you have all this knowledge, I guess, that you try to apply everything every single day, and then it's just analysis paralysis, and you can see both sides of the bullish argument and the bearish argument, and then you're trying to apply everything, when in reality, again, for me, through all those mistakes and analysis paralysis days and moments, from a technical standpoint, it's really just, liquidity and your model, which for me now is time with macros and macro power 3. If I don't have both of those things, I shouldn't be in a trade. And that aspect is controlled by my self-management, right? So again, guys, thanks, Matt. I'll ban him. Yeah, guys, if you're getting random DMs from an impersonator that looks like me that is trying to say like they manage money for you, that's a scammer. But yeah, guys, I mean, those things, how you approach the markets on a day-to-day basis, that needs to be your framework in 2026, right? Your performance needs to be your framework for this year. And you can't just fast forward through the year. It doesn't just happen in one huge moment. It's day by day, and that's the most difficult thing. Most people can't be consistent. Now, again, through all this, I think a lot of traders and gurus online like to act perfect, like they never take losing trades, or even sometimes you have those emotional days. I have those days as well. Every now and then, those slip back in. But when those days happen, and I've mentioned this before many, many times, when those days happen, you have to forgive yourself, dust it off your shoulder, and make sure it does not happen the very next trading day. Because then you prove to yourself that, okay, that was just a slip up. That's not who I am. But if you, that next day, that next trade or next set of trades, you're still tilting whatever, you're proving to yourself that you've made no progress and that you're allowing that bad habit to remain alive and to creep back in and live in your trading. When if you get right back on track the very next day or the very next trade, and that's your priority, not, okay, I need to get out of drawdown from a monetary standpoint. It's, okay, I need to focus on the process right now, the very next day, the very next trade. That's how you build confidence. That's how you grow as a trader, right? So again, I'll still have days where like I'll close early when my model doesn't tell me to close early. Like the trade I posted the other day, there was an SMT at the lows, so I closed early. But if it just goes in my favor and it's halfway to my target and I just panic sell, I need to make sure the next time I'm in a trade, I follow my plan and manage my trade how I know I should manage it. So all those little intricate things, you know, and that from a foundational standpoint for my trading is me putting all my focus on the process, not the outcome, you know? So make that your priority as you go into the new year, right? Think about how fast this freaking year flew by, guys. How fast did it fly by? For those of you who struggled, I know I got some messages in here and no one really said that I saw, unless I missed it, that they struggled that much this year. I know some people did. But even if you had a good year, how to maintain that success and make sure you maintain it and reach that next level, it starts with one day at a time, right? You do not want to look back at another year and say, shit, I did it again. Another year of emotional trading, of tilting, of over trading, of chasing, of all of these things, and just disrespecting yourself and self-sabotaging, right? You got to get to a point where you look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm better than this. In life, in trading, it's all intertwined, right? You get to that point where you start to get the ball rolling and you win those small battles in trading. And you win those small battles outside the chart when you really want to eat that freaking cookie, but you say, no, my goals are more important than this temporary satisfaction of eating this cookie, or this temporary satisfaction of the what if I could just randomly get into this trade and it just goes up a little bit and I can pass my funded account with no logic behind it, just chasing and gambling. It's all the same, right? Again, like you can, it's yours for the taking. You can reach the success in your trading in your life. It's up to you. Just like my success is up to me. It's up to everybody. And you get to decide, are you going to win those small battles or are you going to keep losing them? Or if you've been doing well, are you going to keep winning them or are you going to go backwards? You're going to go back to your old habits. And it is funny how everything in trading is related to outside the charts as well. discipline, fitness, peace, good relationships, being the man or woman you want to be. It's all related. And again, as a side note, you fix those things outside the charts, it's much easier for you to be disciplined inside the charts. Right? If you're skipping all your workouts, you said you were going to run, you said you're going to work out, you said you're going to follow your diet, you're skipping that, and that's weighing on your brain, whether it's you're realizing it or it's subconscious, and you're having all these bad habits outside the charts, you expect to just roll into the trading and make proper decisions and be able to resist those temptations. No, it's much more difficult, and we want to make things as easy as we can for us. And again, guys, I know how I'll say painful it is when you're really just holding back your potential with anything in life, with trading. It's the most frustrating thing when you know you should be taking these types of setups, and then you look back on a trading day and you say, why did I do that to myself? Why did I take that trade? Why did I chase? You know so much better than this. You need to win those small battles and not get zoomed in the moment. And then also, on the other hand, I've been there as well, where like from a fitness standpoint, I've been absolutely shredded, and then I've gone back substantially. And when you kind of go backwards after being in really good shape, it is almost worse than never knowing what it's like to be shredded, because you're kind of just wasting your potential, unless you have like an injury or something, obviously. But that pain of, I'll say regret that you should have ran that day. Shoot, it's summer and I'm fat as hell. I've been there before, guys. And you're like, damn, I said I was gonna really follow my diet plan, my workout plan from January to May or June or whatever, right? And in trading, you say, okay, for January, this is my New Year's resolution. I'm gonna only take macro power 3 trades. I'm gonna only take silver bullet trades, whatever your model is. And I'm gonna look back on January 30th at the end of the month and say, wow, I really followed that plan. And then you get there and you're full of regret. That hurts so much mentally, right? And it pushes you further away from your goal. So again, like, make the promise to yourself this year, you're not going to continue to self-sabotage. And that when you do have those inevitable days where you make mistakes, not that you have a losing trade with a model, but that you overtrade or revenge trade, make the promise that you're literally just going to forgive yourself, understand you're human, but you have to get right back on track the very next day, right? You have to. And just get right back on that track of discipline, of systematic trading with specific rule sets. Make that your framework as you enter this year. So as a side note, see how the market's just chopping around in this range now? Like, in hindsight, this is a good push down with the 950 macro, but I don't want to just rush in just because this setup could work. I want extreme clarity in a trade. 1020. We'll keep talking about some performance stuff. In the meantime, we'll stay on for the 1050 macro probably. But make that your priority, guys. Like, make a promise to yourself. Write it down on a freaking piece of paper. Have it on your desk in your office, on your wall where you trade, whatever. Put it on your freaking wallpaper on your phone. Do anything to help you. I feel like often we'll make goals in trading and anything else in life. And in that moment of motivation, you're saying, yep, like, I'm locked in. I'm gonna work out tomorrow. I'm waking up at 4 a.m. and running and working out. I'm getting back to that guy or that girl that I used to be. And then you're like that for a little bit. And then you're tired in the afternoon. You just forget about how motivated you were. And then you just cheat on your diet. So have those little notes and those little reminders at your trading desk, right? Write a little piece of paper that says, read this when you want to tilt. And then write something like, this is your opportunity to grow. This is your opportunity to get better. If you don't enter a trade and don't tilt, you're 100% ensuring right now in this moment that you're not going to take unnecessary losses. Have that go-to piece of paper, that note, your promise to yourself, or hell, you can even make a video on your phone. Record yourself talking and say, you promised yourself you were going to be done. You promised yourself you weren't going to keep tilting and you're going to leave that in 2025. Do you really want to keep doing this to yourself? Do you want to stay stuck in this cycle? Do you want to open the possibility to make this loss, this normal loss, even more, right? By over leveraging? Do you really want to do this? Is this aligned with your goals? All those things. And the point is to do things that remind you and keep you sharp until it becomes second nature. It's not even in your mindset to tilt. You don't even want anything to do with it. You know? And it was a YouTube video I dropped on my channel. I should know this. I forget what I called it. I was talking about psychology. Yeah, how you can flip the switch and become profitable in 2026. And we were talking about system wins, system losses, and tilt losses. Did you guys watch that video? Who watched that video? Exactly, Mike. And even like put down that visual that we spoke about there with tilt losses. Like when you want to tilt, understand you're more likely than not going to open yourself up to one of those tilt losses. More likely than not, that's going to turn into one of those trades that really hold you back and you're adding to your sample set, right? So we'll talk about it real quick here, but for those of you, like let's imagine this. Those of you who did not see that video, okay? These losses right here, system losses, are okay. These losses are not okay, right? And typically with tilt losses, they're unnecessary. But typically, what do we know about tilt losses? This is what we spoke about in that video. They're over leveraged usually, right, Matt? Higher leveraged. So when what can go wrong will go wrong occurs, you're taking like 3 of those trades. If you're over leveraging double, triple, sometimes even more than this, you guys know how it goes. Whatever the exact leverage, over leveraged amount is relative to your normal sizing of a losing trade, you're digging yourself a super deep hole. Now imagine like you have a day where you take 2 or 3 tilt losses. This is why people make no progress. You know how much more difficult it is for you to get out of that just to break even? Let alone the mental self-doubt it adds onto you as a trader. The mental damage it does for you. You know? And even let's imagine you have good RR. Okay, that's probably the argument against this stuff. Someone will say, well, what if your wins, you have great RR? Why isn't this working, man? Let's say this is like, all right, 3R, because there's 3 losses. Even if you get great 3R trades, don't you want those? What would you rather have? I wrote system loss. What would you rather have? Right? Would you rather have these great wins, these great winning trades with your system, your model that you take with 3R in this case? Would you rather have those actually grow your monetary balance and grow your confidence? Or do you want them to just get you back to break even? That's what's happening when you continue to take these tilt losses. right? Now, when you take away those tilt losses, and you just have these guys right here, now you're profitable. So these system losses are normal. You know, you're going to go through a period where 2 or 3 losses can happen in a row. You're going to go in a period as well, which is why you should never get down on yourself when you're on a little losing streak, where you have a sick win streak. You just have to take it one trade at a time. And when you have that system loss, don't freak out. Trust yourself. Trust the model. Say these things to yourself. Right? But you need to filter out those tilt losses, those emotional, higher leverage trades. You know? Because as long as you're doing that, you're just going to stay stuck in the cycle. It doesn't matter what model you're trading. Okay? Now, this is something that we talked about in that YouTube video that we talked about before from a more psychological, performance-based perspective. Another thing I want to talk about here that we have broken down, but it's super beneficial, especially this time of the year, is the funnel. Okay, so I have the funnel graphic. I think I actually posted it in, if you go to the free education category in the performance, and yeah, you scroll up. So I'll copy it and send it in the live chat. Yeah, Leon. I'll add that to the list. But that funnel that I just sent to the live chat here, I'll break that down simpler here. I won't remake the whole thing. But from a main perspective, from a technical perspective, I should say, this is where a lot of traders go wrong. So you fix the performance in psychological aspect, those issues that we just spoke about with the previous visual. And then you fix this technical aspect and you're in a really good place, honestly. And trading's boring and you're just refining your system, right? So most people do this. We'll just call this bias / DOL / higher time frame, which kind of are all in the same category. They get across the same message that I'm trying to portray here. Most people do this. They put lower time frame entries above what? Above a clear drawn liquidity, above a clear bias, above clear higher time frame direction. When you want to, from a technical standpoint, put all these things above and prioritize them before lower time frame entry model. That's how you want to operate from a technical standpoint. Now, of course, you break this down. Okay, well, what's your lower time frame entry model? Say, macro PO3. This is for me. But you should have some, even if it's not macro power 3, you guys should have some sort of checklist for entry. In the most simple manner, mine is, okay, macro window, manipulation, inversion, entry. Right? So this is just a super simple funnel and perspective for you guys to have. Right? Okay. Do I have a clear bias, drawn liquidity, or higher time frame direction? Right? If I don't, none of this stuff matters. Right? Now, again, think in terms of probabilities and confidence in actual putting a position on. Are there going to be times where you don't have this bias and then you take a pattern trade and it pans out? Yes, but that's the minority of the time. You want to operate in probabilities and stack those probabilities as best you can in your favor. Right? So you have to be able, and that's the skill set. The skill set required for, I'll hide my indicator real quick. the skill set required for that perspective we just discussed is detachment. Okay? And not feeling the need to be in every move. If you're operating from a perspective of necessity and need when you come into the market, you're going to convince yourself there's a million setups the whole day. You could do that. And what kind of keeps you in that gambler's loop is that sometimes it wins and you like that dopamine rush. Sometimes it works out. So every time you take it just in case. Where you need to get away from that. You need to detach from that. And again, think about your mental clarity. Like if you're looking through a telescope and these things, all these lower probability setups, you're trying to look at the ultimate goal of profitability or a high quality setup, right? All these lower time frame setups are blurring your vision through that lens, right? This is cluttering your mind, the need to take every trade. You get nervous. Oh, I'm going to miss out. Oh, I missed out on another one. Oh, 2 low quality plays just play it out. And then the third one you take, boom, it's a loser. And you're saying, oh, it happens to me. Of course, the first 2 panned out and this one is a loser. The market's cursed. The market hates me. I'm never going to be profitable, blah, blah, blah. Completely useless, nonsensical logic that serves you no purpose, and that is just going to hold you back, continue to hold you back, right? So you need to be able to detach because, again, detachment, when you're operating in that framework, this is another way to look at it, right? There's 2 mindsets that you can operate in as a trader. Spoke about this before. I'm sure some of you guys know what I'm about to say. You can operate from a perspective of scarcity, the scarcity mindset, or you can operate from an abundance mindset. Now, an abundance mindset is what? Trusting your model will be delivered and favorable more often than not. Okay? Can't center this. There. The scarcity mindset is here. Okay? Lack of trust in model and oneself to perform and remain patient until model is provided. Right? So, taking this one step further, we're going into today, guys, but this is the most important thing, okay? Everything we're talking about today. We're getting back down to price action over here. Just right in the middle of the range, guys. This trader patiently waits for clarity, only taking trades that align with system. The other trader pattern trades on the lower time frame, rushes into setups out of fear, FOMO, missing out. Again, doubts themselves to follow their rules because you feel like you need to do it now, right? Last one here. long-term vision, short-term vision. Okay, that updates. This person is so focused on the now that they rush into every setup with pattern trades. This trader has a longer-term vision, and they're focused on doing their best to stack probabilities so the outcome is adding into their larger sample set of trades by following their process. And they're not compromising their rules. They're not compromising against themselves. They're not breaking their rules, breaking their promises to themselves. They trust their model. This trader doesn't. Okay? And this stuff we're talking about here is the most important. All right. So who's going to actually follow their rules this year? You guys going to keep doing the same things you guys did recently? You guys going to keep breaking your rules? Your success is up to you. It's not up to me. It's not up to ICT. It's not up to some holy grail that's going to come out. Worrying about if the market's going to switch to 24/7, is it going to change everything? That's not going to make you follow your rules any better. Your priority just needs to be honed in on you and your performance as a trader. Right? Because then you're attaining the actual skill set. And you can operate in whatever market conditions. And you can, if you have that skill set, you can operate if all prop firms go under. You save money, you work your job, get a live account, and slowly build it up because you have the skill set. So you don't need to be worrying about all these things online that are all a distraction. Of course, with prop firm rules, you need to be aware of them. Can I tell you guys about my learning phase and what habits I struggle with the most to improve? Yeah, everything I just talked about with all those performance things, with remaining patient, everything. All those things took a long time for me to get over because I was looking in the wrong direction. I was looking for some holy grail. I was looking for a technical aspect. I couldn't win those small battles. I thought I could be the exception. And, that's from a standpoint of ego. S&P closer to high day, respectively. Yeah, we'll do, Pierre. I'll probably do. I'm just remembering right now. I'm so bad with this this Furu stuff. I'm just remembering I have like a ton of Apex accounts to give away, so I'll probably tweet something after this. What's up, Al? My goal is to leverage AI to help me with my mind game. It's been working so far, but then there are days when I just fall right off the proverbial wagon. So how do you go about that, Al? If you could kind of take that a step further. You said you've been using it so far. It's been working for the most part. Do you have like, when you want to tilt, do you just go tell ChatGPT to like remind you frameworks, or how does that work? If you don't mind sharing, if you don't feel like sharing, it's okay. But I'm gonna grab a glass of water. I'll be back in 1 minute. Man, I'm fired up for 2026. Fired up, fired up, fired up. I just had my second biggest trade of my career, which is funny. It happens at the end of the year last week. Thanks, Mike. It was $10. I'm just kidding. Bro's balling. Hey, what's up, Style? Al, not real time, but it's helping get clarity in my identity as a trader, fine-tuning my daily processes and insights on my actual performance. I'll share something here with the group at some point. I think it'd be helpful. Yeah, that'd be great, man. Nice. Yeah, any of those tools and leveraging AI as well, as it progresses AI so quick, I'm all about that. So that'd be great. Understand this is where the market's, what it's doing right now on the back and forth. When you see a lack of displacement in the higher time frames, 4 hour, 1 hour, etc., you really don't want to push too hard. So again, just because of the conditions, I'm not looking to trade, but here, the main thing is that we left these initial clean lows down here. Bro, why is TradingView just attacking me today? Remove these, please. We left these clean lows. we left some pretty clean lows here. New week opening gap, 930 open. A lot of magnets for price down here. Same with ES, leaving the lows down here as well, and internally. Previous new week opening gap here. Another previous new week opening gap here. So this is why these levels are important. There's going to be sensitivity around. Yeah, we have an SMT at the highs. You guys, I mentioned this too, but high probability inversions will be added to the indicator soon, which would be good. Macro inversions. And then after that, I don't really want to overdo it more than that. It already has everything it needs. All session highs and lows. You can change the time too. I know some people have like different lunch times that they use. You can change that here. New week opening gaps, new day opening gaps, first presentation gaps, key opening prices, macros, macro SMTs. Also saves me a ton of time when like I go back and mark up charts with you guys, because you can play the, put on all the recent stuff. It's good for journaling. Go be able to find like specific macro windows, scrub back at old setups. So here, if we're going to go lower, I mean, ideally, you'd want to see the SMT hold. Best case, this high. Second best would be still the opening range high from the previous day. So that's previous day high. This is what's currently occurring. And again, I'm just tape reading for today. But main thing would be, if the SMT can hold, in these cases, I'm just looking for signs that bullish order flow is breaking down. So like it would be a typical BISI, but we have this 930 gap right here. So if we can see this SMT hold, get below it and start to dig down, that's how I would read that. Again, with all these lower signatures, lower time frame signatures, when I have concern about seek and destroy, I don't hold too much weight to them, but that's how I'd read it. What trick do I use to look at old NQ charts for previous years? Yeah, so if you just type, do I check YM? I check YM, yeah. Even more recently, I have been more so than not. But still the main two are NASDAQ and ES. But so, as I was saying, yeah, so Al, to look at old charts, I'll just do NQ. Let's say we're looking at H for 2024. If you type that in, it says there's no symbols matching my criteria. All you got to do is hit enter. Okay? And it'll still show up. And then obviously it'll be a little thin because of the contracts, but then you can just scrub back. Is that what you're asking, Al? So just press enter when you go there. And you can put in any contract. You can even do QH 2019. So this is why it's good to just, especially early on, like train your eye with some of the signatures, or when you're bored, to hammer in, get reps. Like just go look at old data. Like it does not hurt. It doesn't hurt to go do that. Think of it as like shooting your free throws as a trader. Damn, NASDAQ 7,000. Wild. What YouTube content do you guys want to see in the new year? Talk about macros more, talk about liquidity more. I'll probably make a new video on dealing ranges, some more performance-based stuff like my daily routine in the morning, like my main kind of go through when I get on the charts. Maybe I'll do some vlog stuff. Full board bangers, say less. Day in the life. We'll do a day in the life. Daily routine on charts. TBH, you have everything on it already? Yeah, that's the thing. It's just coming up with new ideas. I'm not just going to make the same videos over and over again. If anything, of course, just like more reviews and stuff as we get more data. Failed macro trades, yeah. I mean, the only thing really with that is like there's going to be trades that a lot of people will take that I'll look at and objectively be like, that was a low probability trade. And the majority of it is it's usually one of two things or both. If it's an unfavorable session, like if I have concern of seek and destroy, then the lower time frame setups, regardless of model, are less likely to pan out. So I won't take those on those days. And that comes with liquidity that we were talking about at the start of today's stream. And also just times like we were talking about over here, like this macro, because we had... Wait for it. This above. So there's not a macro power 3 setup. Actually, you could convince yourself there is. This is terrible. Like, this is a terrible setup. Like, okay, a low retracement to 50%. Inversion close above during a macro window. Shouldn't I go long? We ran this little low. Well, it's not really prominent. It's no clear liquidity. Main thing is that we have this London low right below. So this is inducement, as we talked about before. But even on top of this, like if that low where your stop loss would go right here, the close above, right? If that's right above another set of equal or relative equal lows, it's a low probability trade. And of course, as I mentioned, just to reiterate, when you're that close to a session low, it's a very low probability trade. So like the majority of trades, like Mike, if I was to put together a video like that, if I was to look at a setup and be like, okay, yeah, that was low probability, that's what it's going to be, those two things. Now, there's going to be other times as well where I'll take a macro power 3 trade, and what's going to happen? It'll be a loss. And there's no magical thing sometime in hindsight say, okay, well, yeah, I shouldn't have taken that many times. It's just a loss that I'm okay with taking because that's part of trading, you know? So again, something I used to do would be try to look way too deep into every setup and specifically losers and try to like you second guess your model. You start to convince yourself you shouldn't have taken it when in reality, many times it's just, okay, that one just didn't work out. Or like, it needed to sweep one more additional sweep than I thought. It stopped me out and boo-hoo, that's it. Where are you guys watching from? Where's everybody at right now? I know Mike's in Dallas. Minneapolis. Maryland, Wisconsin, England. What's up, Shacky? Chattanooga, Egypt, Pittsburgh. Worldwide, guys. Love it. Florida. Where in Florida, Keisha, if you don't mind me asking? Maybe we're neighbors. Orlando. Interesting. My brother lives in Orlando. Tampa. What's up, Oman? Jersey City. All right, I'm just going to tape read this one. This Bissy, SMT's trying to hold. We'll see if they can flip that. And if they do, how far down they want to dig it. One of my goals for 2026 is to drink freaking less caffeine. I drink so much caffeine. It's so bad. As I'm drinking a coffee. My problem is I'll do pre-workout every day. I'll do a boatload of pre-workout. And then also coffees. I can't, bro. I'd rather have pre-workout than coffee. Call me crazy. I think that's what the doctors call addiction. Yeah, me too, bro. Get back to a full trading week. Leon, are you asking if price is going to be like this for until February? Is that am I understanding you correctly? I mean, the market can do what it wants, but no, it won't be, hopefully, this bad until February. Seriously, guys, though, spend time like reflecting on what we spoke about earlier about psychology and performance and building good habits and bouncing back after a loss, or when you inevitably have like an emotional trading day, you know, a loss that you knew you shouldn't have taken, but you did anyways and paid the price. All those things we discussed is your roadmap to profitability and your success and improvement as a trader. Right? It's not switching your strategy. It's not Enigma. It's not any of that stuff. Once you have your strategy and you understand the priorities draw on liquidity, and you understand your personal favorite model that you engage with primarily, your number one goal as a trader is to follow your rules, to get out of your own way, to not self-sabotage, right? Don't look back on 2026 again saying, what if? That's a very painful place to be in. Where would I be if I followed my rules? You know, the pain of regret, knowing that you could have been better and you could have been more disciplined and you could have made more progress. Again, think about all the days you tilted this year, and in those moments, you know, moment by moment, basis by basis, it felt like the weight of the world was on your shoulders. It felt like you needed to fix that losing trade. It felt like you couldn't resist that temptation. But then you do it, and then time just goes by, and now you're not freaking out anymore. It's just that little moment that you have to get over. Again, tying it back into like a diet, right? You're saying you're going to eat healthy. You're not going to cheat on your diet. Then you really want a freaking pizza so bad. You want it so bad. And then you eat it. You succumb to that temptation. And then right after you're saying, damn, now I feel terrible. I went backwards. My next workout is in progress. It's just me getting back to square one because I ate that freaking pizza. Whatever the case may be. Again, I wish I still had all this stuff over here, but detachment, trust your model, trust yourself. You know, every single time you win one of those small battles where the former you would chase price, the former you would revenge trade, the former you would try to fix a loss right away with no setup, that's your opportunity to grow. That's where you build your confidence, right? Say those things to yourself. That's where those things occur. Okay, so again, like right now when we talk about these things, some people might feel motivated. Hell, even I feel motivated talking about these stuff. You know, it's good to talk about. Trading's, you know, my passion. I love trading. I love thinking about taking great trades. I love trusting myself that the majority of times I'm going to follow my rules. Again, I love it even more so knowing how bad I was before getting to this point, right? It's good to be motivated, but it's much more difficult in the moment when you take that losing trade that looks so good and then it feels like you're not making progress. You know, you're not stupid for taking a loss. It just happens. I take a loss. Everyone takes losing trades. So why put the weight of the world on your shoulder and feel like you need to fix it right away? You don't need to fix it right away. Right? Half of that battle, especially for you younger folks, is probably just social media. You know, you take a losing trade, then you go on Instagram and everyone's claiming to have 90K days, bro. No wonder why you feel worse off a little paper cut as a trader. You know, 95% of those people probably aren't even taking those trades or taking those trades both directions on many accounts and then just posting the winner. Right? So don't compare yourself to people. Don't compare yourself to me. Don't compare yourself to everyone. Just focus on the skill set. Right? Because the more you compare yourself, the more time you spend on social media, you're going to feel like you're behind. You're going to operate from that perspective of scarcity. You're going to feel like you need to be playing catch up where you're fine. You just need to focus on the day at hand. That's it. Right? And on the other hand, when you have a winning trade and then you see someone else take a loss, don't feel like a freaking trading god. Like it's just that one day. Right? You can't get too high in the highs. You can't get too low in the lows. You have to stay as close to baseline as you can. You know, even after I mentioned I had my second biggest day, like, does it feel good? Yes, obviously. Is it good to have a great trade? Yes. I want all my trades to be bangers and my runners to run substantially. But they're not always going to run. They're not always going to be bangers. They're not always going to be wins. Sometimes it's going to get real close to my TP, and then it's going to come stop me out at break even, and it's going to be frustrating as hell. But that's trading. That's life. It is what it is. You can't let these outcomes affect your next decision and stray you away from following your process. Don't let the market do that to you. Don't let comparison with social media online. Like, even like a challenge can be literally delete social media for like a week at least. And I would say a month, but I know a lot of people's attention spans are probably very short because of social media. I'm not even trying to talk down to people. It's for me too. Like, I catch myself just forgetting things that I was doing. Like, I'll open the fridge to get milk for my protein shake. I'll open it and I'll be like, what the hell am I doing? It'll take me a second. And it's just because we're looking at these phones, we're scrolling, we're taking so much information in. And then also on the other hand, like, when I delete social media and spend more time off my phone, I'm more at peace. I'm much less anxious. I'm much more creative, even when it comes to like creating content and stuff. And even with my trading, I have so much less information in my brain, so I'm only focused on the trading day at hand. I'm more likely to perform well, you know? And that's a way to get out of your own way in that regard, as well as being disciplined outside the charts. But I guess that's that. Kind of a slower day. Yes, we're seeing movement back and forth, but there's nothing really I liked from a technical standpoint for all the reasons I mentioned. But for real, guys, like, I want to see you guys succeed. I know how shitty it feels to spend so much time watching ICT videos, watching whoever's videos, studying the market, back testing, having a green week, then having a tilt day right after, and you get rid of all your progress. I know how all of those things feel. I know how absolutely shitty it feels, right? The only way you're going to get over that hump and get out of that cycle is to take it day by day and truly, truly spend time. Like, after this, write that note that I mentioned earlier in today's stream and make that promise to yourself. Say, read this when you want to tilt. Read this right after a loss so you don't tilt. When you take a normal loss, have that note right next to you that says, okay, that was normal. Everyone takes losses. This is your opportunity to grow and show yourself that you have the skill set of being able to sit with a red day. That's where most people get confused. It's not something you need to fix right now. It doesn't mean you're dumb. It doesn't mean any of those things. It's your opportunity to grow that skill set of being able to sit with a red day, sit with a losing trade for however long the market decides it's going to take for you to get another clear setup with your model, with a clear draw on liquidity, etc. You don't decide those things. All you do is control what you can control. Focus on the process. That's all you can do. That's all you have as a trader. In your life in general, control what you can control. You can control if you break that promise to you that you said you were going to run, and then it's time to run, you don't feel like it because you're lazy or you're tired, you didn't sleep well. You control those things. You literally get to decide the majority of those things. And it's the same in trading, right? After I take a normal loss, a normal losing trade, I get to decide. The market's not out to get me. I'm not a worse trader than someone online. I'm not comparing myself to anyone. I get to decide if I want to tilt or not. And that's literally the definition of self-sabotage. You just have to recognize it and act accordingly. And that is the key to your success right there. And it's hard and it's uncomfortable to, more so what comes to my mind is when you see a low probability setup and then you implement that discipline and say, I'm not going to take it. Obviously, when you don't take it, you want it to go hit that hypothetical stop loss where where your stop loss would have been in that low probability trade. But it's a tough feeling when it does start to pan out, that low probability setup starts to run. And you have to understand, low probability doesn't mean impossible. Sometimes those low probability setups are going to push and go towards the target or to full TP. You have to detach from that because you're not concerned. You don't care about that one specific trade. You're focused on the large sample set and following your process. You know, if I see a trade, let's say this was like, even like here, I mean, in hindsight, this actually worked with 850 macro. This is a good example. Like if I have super clean lows and there's no SMT and macro power 3, I don't want to take it. And then it goes upwards. That used to be so much more difficult for me than it is now. Now I couldn't care less. I'm just like, damn, that's annoying. And then that's it. You don't feel bad for yourself. You don't freaking cry. You know, it just is what it is. You just wait. Is it boring? Yes. Is it annoying? Yes. But I understand now and implement, not only understand, implement in real time the importance of that and how detrimental it is if I start to chase up here or let it affect my ability to follow my process in the next trade. Right? All these things come together, and it's what we're talking about today. That's the theme of today, and it's what I want you guys to bring into the new year and your trading in general going forward. Right? And again, I know I'm kind of repeating things, but it's because I understand how difficult it is to feel like you're putting in so much work and not making progress and not seeing results. Okay. And I could, if you can't already tell, and you guys who are the premium guys who listen to my live streams every day, you know I can talk about this stuff for hours on end, right? And I'm doing so. I say I'm going to end, and I sound like I'm going to end soon, and then I just keep yapping about it. But it's because it's important. I care about you guys. It even keeps myself sharp talking about this stuff. It's a good time of the year to do it in this case too. Slow week, short week, new year, kind of reset, recharge, refresh. But yeah, guys, I mean, I'll post this recording. I'll probably post it on YouTube, to be honest. Just kind of a last minute end of the year review. I also want to go back on some of the analysis. We had some good call outs this year on dollar and even like higher time frame stuff. Everything wasn't perfect as always. That's trading, but just about the fact of if I really want to go back and clip stuff up. I'm lazy in that regard. But yeah, guys, I mean, housekeeping, the alpha things, 40% off, and you get an entry for a Cartier watch giveaway, which is cool. I mentioned that earlier. That's valid until December 26th, I believe. And then the A to Z and lifetime discount I posted yesterday is valid until January 1st. Okay, and that's with code XMIS. I posted that earlier as well. So again, guys, I'll upload this, but really spend some time thinking about what we talked about. Okay? They're the most important things. It's you versus you. It's me versus me. Right? It's not you versus some random person you never met on the internet. Let all the Twitter, I post on Twitter, like you never see me arguing with anyone on Twitter. It's an absolute waste of time. It's a literal cesspit. Right? So don't compare yourself to people you'll never meet. It's literally pointless. And it's a zero-sum game. Right? Just focus on you, focus on your process, focus on things you're doing right, things you're doing wrong, ask questions in the Discord. The accountability channel is there for a reason, guys. Like when you guys are going through it, post in that channel what you're struggling with. Post after a tilt day when they inevitably come. Post. Get it off your freaking chest. You know, trading's a lonely journey. Get it off your mind, and no one's going to judge you. You know, it's good. That's why it's there. And honestly, when you share your scenario, your day, your struggles, the struggle of that day, whatever, of a week, it helps out other traders who maybe are a little more shy, who don't want to and are going through it behind the scenes. right? And it's cool too. Like as you progress throughout January, February, the totality of 2026, if you put those messages is in there in the accountability section, and then you're actually putting the work in throughout the year, it's going to be cool for you to go look back on the year, scrub back at your messages, which you can do, and see how far along you came. You know? So those messages, they don't disappear. You can go scrub through those. As well as, you know, right now, go scrub through those and see how, I mean, Remorph, like, I see you type in the live chat. You've posted countless times in there of days that you struggled, of times that you struggled. And then what's great is you posted how you came out of drawdown, got your confidence back, got payouts. That's why those things are in there, because it goes to show you can have those bad days, but you just have to bounce back. You know, so it's good to look at. But I can't say bye to you guys. Let's keep yapping. It's like ICT, dude. He says it's going to be a 20-minute stream, and then it's 5 hours. But yeah, I'm going to go get off. I'm going to go get a haircut. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. I'm sure I'll be around in chat. Maybe we'll do a stream. Actually, no, I won't do a stream Friday. I lied. Probably next week we'll resume streams at this point, next Monday. But I'll upload this. And yeah, guys, be safe. Go touch some grass. Happy holidays.